end of the Republic has never looked better.
Something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time.
You can't say it, but you know it's true.
There will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. There will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
State Department and the White House for wanting Israel to do it, encouraging them to do it, supporting them. Our Air Force worked very closely with the Israeli Air Force for months before this, not necessarily with a deadline, knowing when it would happen. It was always going to be whenever there was an incident, they would take advantage of an incident. The word I used was fortunate timing.
On the rise in Afghanistan. In fact, it looks like America's shadow wars have now increased by 1. Drone strikes have long been reported in Pakistan and Yemen, but now there's news that a week ago, the U.S. drone aircraft fired on 2 leaders of the Somalian organization Al-Shabaab.
President Obama is sending 100 combat-equipped troops to Central Africa to advise local forces on getting rid of one of the continent's most vicious operatives, Joseph Kony, the head of the Lord's Resistance Army, a group responsible for atrocities across the region.
We can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end.
I have to say that all of us who've been seeing the terrible pictures coming out of Syria and Homs recently recognize it is absolutely imperative for the international community to rally.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Iran is a grave threat.
We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Al Jazeera quoted sources as saying that Obama has already discussed the issue of running for Secretary General with Democrats, Republicans, and Jewish officials in the United States.
Imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
А вы чего? Разве вы не понимаете, кто там воюет? Там воюют наемники. Ну а кто помогал вооружать людей, которые в Сирии боролись с Асадом-то? Кто создавал благоприятный политический информационный климат? Кто подталкивал к поставкам оружия? Вы знаете, что там платят деньги? И они воюют там, где платят больше. Вот они вооружились, им платят определенную сумму. Мне даже называли эти суммы, которые им платят.
The source said that once Netanyahu got wind of Obama's plans, the prime minister began to make efforts to submarine what he has referred to as the Obama Project. According to the Jerusalem Post, Netanyahu remembers well just how U.S. President Barack Obama brushed aside Israeli objections and went ahead with the P5+1 nuclear agreement with Iran.
Finishing off Iran.
Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. It concerns me. celebrity magazines, television with 500 channels. Some guy's name on my underwear. Rogaine, Viagra, Olestra, Martha Stewart. Fuck Martha Stewart.
They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big all the big media companies. So they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls.
Imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
They got you by the balls.
You can't say it, but you know it's true. Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to be here at my last, and perhaps the last, White House Correspondents' Day. You all look great. The end of the Republic has never looked better.
Elon, for all I know, you're crazy as a loon. But that's not why you're here. That's not why you're here. It's not why you're here. You're here because of the system. There's the television. It's all right there. All right there. Look, listen, Neil, pray. Commercials. We're not productive anymore. It needs to make things anymore. It's all automated. What are we for then? We're consumers.
Real? You want to talk about reality? We haven't lived in anything remotely close to it since the turn of the century.
What? Back, Jim, back. If you don't buy things, toilet paper, new cars, computerized blender, stereo systems with brain-implanted headphones, screwdrivers, miniature built-in radar devices, voice-activated computers.
A world built on fantasy. Synthetic emotions in the form of pills.
Drugs! What did they give you? Thorazine? Haldol? How much? How much? Learn your drugs, know your doses. It's elementary.
Adulterated chemicals in the form of food. Brainwashing seminars in the form of media. Isolated bubbles in the form of social networks.
There's electrically operated sexual devices.
Psychological warfare in the form of advertising. Hypnotizing us into the biggest slumber mankind has ever seen. You have to dig pretty deep, kiddo.
What? The things you own end up owning you. Okay. Buy a lot of stuff. You're a good citizen. But if you don't buy a lot of stuff, if you don't, what are you then, I ask you? What? Mentally ill.
We turned it off, took out the batteries, snacked on a bag of GMOs while we tossed the remnants in the ever-expanding dumpster of the human condition. We live in branded houses, trademarked by corporations, built on bipolar numbers, jumping up and down on digital displays.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lee.
What are we then?
Consumers.
Right. You're consumers. We are byproducts of a lifestyle obsession.
Obama out.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Material for this film is taken from facts available to the public and from interviews with some of today's leading thinkers. However, we do live in a world full of conspiracy theories, and all I ask is that you keep an open mind, but question everything.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, these countries are tiny compared to the Soviet Union. They don't pose a serious threat to us.
Smug, greedy, well-fed white people have invented a language to conceal their sins. It's as simple as that. The CIA doesn't kill anybody anymore. They neutralize people. Or they depopulate the area. The government doesn't lie. It engages in disinformation. The Pentagon actually measures nuclear radiation in something they call sunshine units. Israeli murderers are called commandos. Arab commandos are called terrorists. Contra killers are called freedom fighters. Well, if crime fighters fight crime and firefighters fight fire, what do freedom fighters fight? They never mention that part of it to us, do they?
Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
And all I ask is that you keep an open mind, but question everything.